Hey, what's up everybody? So today we're going to be doing something a little different. I watch a lot of mysteries and where this person disappeared to and that kind of stuff because it's fascinating to me. So I thought we would do one of our own. So we're in a different setting again because we're in the process of moving rooms and stuff. So all my clothes are in the regular filming room and it's a disaster. So yeah, I have this huge plastic closet that has a bunch of cubby holes, and then I have clothes folded in there, and I have clothes on the floor that I still need to fold, and then all the exercise equipment's in there still, so there's nowhere to sit. But so yeah, today we're going to be doing a mystery, where is what happens to, that kind of video. And I'm really excited for this. So today I was doing some research on the internet, and a case that really caught my attention was the disappearance of Susan Powell. And so I have some notes and stuff about the Susan Powell disappearance. So yeah, let's get started on that. So Susan was married to Joshua, and they had two sons named Charlie Powell, born January 19th, 2005, and Braden Timothy Powell, born January 2nd, 2007. So they're relatively young, right? And Susan had a mom and a dad named Charles and Judy, and Susan and Joshua lived in the West Valley City, Utah. They lived in West Valley City, Utah, and it was a suburb of Salt Lake City. So they lived in the suburbs. So it's kind of nice. It's just your average neighborhood. And Joshua had a bachelor's degree in business, and Susan was a cosmetologist. So they had a, pretty average life, I guess. But there were some bad things going on behind the scenes, I guess, behind closed doors. So Susan actually was terrified of Josh. She had wrote in letters saying how she feared for her life, saying how she quotes, I want to read it right. So, I want it to be documented that there is an extreme turmoil in our marriage, and if I die, it may not be an accident, even if it looks like one. So she wrote the secret will, and it was her own little secret letter almost, and she was talking about how she feared for her life and how if she did die, it may not have been an accident. That's terrifying. I don't know. It was just really scary that she feared for her life that much. But just keep that in mind, that she was scared of Josh. So, the disappearance. So, this is where it gets great. Not great. This is where it gets juicy. So, the morning of December 6th, 2009, Susan and the boys went to church. And later on, a neighbor visited them in their home around 5 p.m. So, just an average day. They wake up, go to church, come home, have some time with the neighbors. And the morning of December 7th, the boys did not show up to daycare. And Susan did not show up to work. So, not Susan. Joshua's mother, Terica, and sister, Jennifer, went to the house of Susan and Joshua to look for their family and see what has happened, because the kids aren't in daycare, she's not at work, no one's answering their phone, so obviously something's wrong. So they did what any family member would do. They went out to look for these people. and they couldn't get a hold of Josh or Susan, you know. So later that day, Josh comes home with the boys around 5 p.m., right? And nobody's been able to get a hold of them this whole day, and Susan's not at house and not at work. So if she's not at home waiting for the boys, and she's not with the boys and Josh, where did she go? So Josh comes home around 5 p.m. and he got taken in to questioning at the police station when he got home. And he claimed that he left her sleeping shortly after 12 a.m. December 6th night. So going into December 7th morning, he left her sleeping on the couch and decided to take the boys camping. So let me just get this right. You go camping, you leave for camping at 12 a.m. I don't do a lot of camping, but that just seems really weird to leave your house to go camping at 12 a.m. and leave your wife sleeping. Like, peace out, I'm just gonna go camp with the boys at, I don't know, midnight. So apparently he taken the boys to a camping site in Simpson Springs in western Utah, and police had done some investigating of the campsite that he claimed that he took the boys to. There is no evidence of this campsite. Like, they couldn't find the campsite he was describing. They couldn't. So that's just a little weird. Like, if you're going to make up a lie and say that you took your sons camping, how would you give them, like, an actual campsite? Like, not just make up one. Just saying. So, investigation. So, upon searching for Susan Powell in the house on December 9th, they found traces of blood on the carpet. And the blood, it turns out to be Susan's and unknown male. So, they found traces of the blood, and then they later found some documents about how Joshua had taken a $1.5 million life insurance policy out on Susan. And they found Susan's handwritten notes and letters saying how she feared for her life and how she was terrified of Josh. So later on in 2013, the DNA was released and matched a blood sample to Susan and an unknown male. Years later, and when first questioned by the police, Josh was not concerned about, like, Susan's welfare. Like, he was not, like, if your wife is missing, you would be worried. But, like, instead, like, he, like, canceled her daily chiropractic appointments. And it's, like, chiropractor appointments, yeah. So, if my husband would have went missing, I wouldn't cancel his chiropractor appointments. Like, but he canceled her daily chiropractor appointments and withdrew the kids from daycare. I don't know. Weird. But the weirdest part of this all is that he had spoke to coworkers when he went to work. He had spoke with coworkers about hiding a body, like, about how to hide a body in a mine shaft in the desert in western Utah. Right? Weird. And I believe he took their sons camping in western Utah too. Let me check my notes. Wow, would you look at that? A campsite in western Utah. Hiding a body in western Utah. Weeks after the disappearance, they interviewed the oldest son, Charlie, who confirmed the camping Charlie confirmed that they did go camping, but he said that Susan came with them but did not come back. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you left your wife sleeping on the couch. No? Okay. But apparently Susan had gone with them and not came back, according to their son Charlie. But it gets worse. So Susan's parents claimed that months after the disappearance of Susan, the youngest son, Braden, while he was in daycare, he drew a picture of a van with 3 people in the van. And when they asked him what was this picture about, he was like, oh, that's when we went camping, mommy's in the trunk. So he drew a picture of 3 people in the van, which I'm assuming was him, his brother, and his dad, and said that mommy was in the trunk. So you got one son drawing a picture saying mom's in the trunk, and another son saying, oh, mom came camping but didn't come back. So investigators informed the media that they were going to question Josh and subpoena all the footage from the interviews. So December 14th, Josh got an attorney, right? So it's cold too. Why would you go camping when it's cold? Is it cold in Utah? Let's look up and see if it's cold in Utah. Does it get cold in Utah? Average weather in Salt Lake City, Utah. Summers are hot, dry, mostly clear, and the winters are very cold and partly cloudy. Why would you go camping in December? But that's not, whatever, it's fine, it's fine. But, so Josh got an attorney on December 14th, and that kind of, makes you look suspicious, but I guess not if you're getting questioned hardcore and, things just aren't adding up right. So, a few days later, he took his sons to his hometown to stay with his dad. And January 6th, his brother Michael and him went to gather all the family belongings at their old house and pack it all up. Joshua had a father named Stephen, and Joshua and his father, Stephen, in 2010 claimed that Susan abandoned her family due to mental illness and that she left with another man. But Susan's family was there and they backed her up and was like, no way, Susan could never have done that. She's not that kind of person. But investigators moved to Stephen as a suspect when they found out that he was obsessed with Susan. This is where it went way it twisted. I didn't expect that it was going to go this way. That's why I felt drawn to this case so much. So Stephen was found a suspect, which Stephen is Joshua's dad, right? And they found out he was obsessed with Susan and had 4,500 images of Susan taken without her knowledge. There was pictures of her, there were pictures zoomed into her, 4,500 images on his computer of Susan. And they found he had love songs posted online under a pseudonym that was directed for Susan. So on September 14th, 2011, Utah authorities discovered a possible gravesite while searching Topaz Mountain. And Topaz Mountain is a desert area near Nephi, a campsite that Josh often visited, but nothing was found. So they thought it was, could be a grave site, but nothing was found. And on September 22nd, Stephen was arrested on charge of voyeurism and child pornography. After police found that police found evidence that he secretly videotaped numerous women and young girls. So on top of the 4,500 pictures he had of Susan, they also found other pictures and videos of just like women and children. So, excuse me, I need a coffee. So Chuck, Susan's dad, filed for custody of the boys, and like the court said Josh had to move out of the house because he was living with his dad and his mom. He was residing with them, or just his dad. I don't know if his mom and dad were split up or what, but he was living at his dad's house with the boys, and the court said, hey, you gotta get out if you want to keep custody of your kids, because you gotta keep them away from this man. And if he wanted to regain the custody of his kids, he had to move out. So he rented a house in Graham, Washington, but it was all a trick. Like, he rented the house and, you know, faked everything so it looked like he was living there, but in reality he was still living at his dad's house. So like the court like thought that he was living at like a normal house in Washington. But like both of Joshua's sisters, Jennifer and Alina, both believed that Josh had something to do with this murder. And honestly, so do I. Like, but after Jennifer and Alina made that statement, Alina later withdrew her statement that she made about her brother having some part in this crime. So, after going through some investigations, Josh was granted visitation of the boys with supervision. So he had to have supervision this whole time, and he was granted visitation a few times weekly. So they weren't trying to keep the dad away from his sons. You know, they gave him visitation a couple of times a week. But last week of January, they found 400 pictures of child pornography, bestiality, and incest on Joshua's computer. So the apple didn't fall far from the tree. So he had 400 pictures of weird stuff on his computer. So here's where we get even more twisted. So the deaths is what I call this. So on February 5th, 2012, a social worker made a 911 call standing outside of Joshua's home. She was coming to give the boys, you know, their supervision visitation time. And before she could walk in the house, the boys walked in, and he grabbed them and shut the door in front of the social worker's face and would not let her in this house. So she called 911, and then a few minutes later, the house exploded, killing Josh and both of the sons. The coroner noticed that they had multiple chopping wounds on their neck and their head. So when they went inside the house, they later found that there was like a hatchet laying near Joshua's body. So they, what is the word I'm looking for? It indicated that Josh had tried to chop them, like kill them before they died of carbon monoxide poisoning, because the house exploded from carbon and monoxide poisoning. So that's just so sad, honestly. Like, But, also found 2 5-gallon cans of gasoline on the property, and they found trails of gasoline throughout the whole house. Joshua had sent out emails to friends, family, and a few coworkers saying goodbye a few minutes before the house had blew up. So, and his pastor got an email informing him on how to get the money because Joshua pulled out $7,000 like the day before. Yeah, the day before the incident, Joshua pulled out $7,000 from the bank account. So he gave instructions to his pastor on where to find this money and how to turn off his utilities. But not only when he pulled out $7,000 from his bank account, he donated all his kids' toys and books. So I think that'd be so weird, like walking into your house and like seeing all your toys gone, and then like I don't know, I just can't believe, you know, like you trust your parents, you know, so it's just. But before he took his life and took his son's life, he named Michael, which is his brother, the main beneficiary to his life assurance. The aftermath. So Michael ended up taking his own life on February 11th in 2013. So during this whole time, you know, Michael has been questioned by the police like a ton, and they later found that a few weeks after Susan's disappearance, he abandoned his car in the junkyard, which is totally sketchy. But authorities believe that Joshua and Michael were in it together on Susan's death. So Stephen was released from prison on July 11th after serving 7 years for voyeurism and child pornography. He later passed away due to natural causes on July 23rd, 2018. So Susan's remains are still missing. You know, she's still a missing person. But it's believed that she was murdered by her husband, and possibly with the help of her husband's brother, Michael. So there was calls as March 2018 to declare her dead, with the case being homicide. So everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people suspect that her husband had something to do with it. And honestly, like, let's look at the evidence. Like, he took her camping, and the sons are saying that mommy came with but didn't come back, drawing pictures that mommy was in the trunk. And, you know, nobody just disappears, like, out of thin air. Like, there's always something that has gone wrong, or maybe you just don't know about it, you know? So, I believe that Joshua had a part in this. I just think all the evidence points at him. But I think it's really sad that he took his kid's life because they were so innocent in this. You know, like, they did nothing wrong. They deserved to live a full life. So it's just really sad that they didn't get to live the life that they had out in front of them, you know? But I don't know, man. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know. And if I missed out anything, please leave it down below too. Like, do your own research on this too. Like, fill me in some information that I may have not been able to find, you know, because I love hearing about this stuff. So, and if you have any cases that you would like me to do, also comment those down below, because I am very interested in finding new cases. So, yeah, let me know what you thought about this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did, because I find this stuff fascinating. So, doing all the research for this case. It took me a while, but doing all the research for this case is really fun. And I find it very interesting and mind-boggling to think about, like, why did they do this? Why, like, what happened, you know? So, if you liked it, please like this video and give it a, big old thumbs up, which is the same as liking it. So, also subscribe and turn on my notifications bell so you get alerted every time that I post a video. Okay, guys. Peace out till next time.